All right, everybody, welcome back to a very special episode this week. I'm breaking down UFC 258 with my good friend Debo. Debo, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you.
We
Honored
had
to
him
be
on for
here.
the UFC 257 breakdown, and he's going to be our UFC guru, breaking down every single pay-per-view with me. We're going to be releasing these as their own separate videos, and this is the first one. So let's get right into the card. This weekend, we have UFC 258. Saturday night starts at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus is the early prelims. The first fight of the night, we got the women's flyweight Jillian Robertson. She's 9-5. She is fighting Miranda Maverick, who is 8-2. Miranda Maverick is a minus 143 favorite, and Robertson's a plus 115 underdog. Miranda Maverick, real quick, she responded to hopefully doing an interview with me for my YouTube show next week. So from now on, she's the Zeebs HQ favorite fighter of the show and a fighter that I'm going to root for forever. And I'm now a big fan of. So I'm taking the favorite here, Miranda Maverick, to win, probably via decision.
Right? If she's showing you love, we're showing her love. Miranda Maverick all day.
Exactly. Love it. We'll jump into the next fight of the night on the early prelims. It's a welterweight matchup. We have Gabriel Greene, who's 9-3. He's a minus 130 favorite. He's fighting Philip Rowe, who's 7-2, plus 105 underdog. It's Rowe's UFC debut. I'm going to ride the underdog train here and go Philip Rowe.
I'm gonna agree with you there. Philip Rowe is on. He's 7-2. He lost his two first pro fights, and he's been on a 7-fight streak.
Wow.
I think he gets it done. I think he keeps that streak hot.
Yeah, I love that. Ride the momentum, get his 8th straight win in his UFC debut. All right. Next fight. It's the main event on the early prelims. Ricky Simone. He's minus 286 favorite. He's 17-3. He's fighting a favorite of mine, Brian Kelleher, who's 22-11. He's a veteran in the fighting world. He's a plus 22 underdog. Riding the underdog train again. I'm taking Kelleher in this fight.
That is my prelim fight of the night, and
Yeah,
I'm
mine
gonna
too.
ride that. I'm gonna ride that with you. I'll definitely put like a little early prelim underdog parlay with
Yeah,
Kelleher in it.
I love it. Yep. Kelleher, Rowe, and there's some more underdogs on the other prelims I like. And we'll jump right into that. The main prelim card starts at 8 p.m. It's on ESPN and ESPN Plus. The first fight on that is a catchweight fight at 140 pounds, excuse me. And Andre Ewell, he's 17-6. He's a plus 155 underdog. He's taking on Chris Gutierrez, who is a minus 200 favorite, and he is 15 4-2 with 2 draws, which is really weird. I'm not familiar with either of these guys too much, so I'm just gonna ride the underdog Ewell. 3 straight underdogs here. If you can fill us some info on either of these guys, that'd be awesome.
I know a little bit about Andre. I remember him from his loss to Marlon Vera. Uh,
Okay.
Marlon knocked him out in the third round, but I think since then he's on a 2-fight win streak, and I think Chris's last fight was one of those weird draws. So I think these two are going to really come out. They're both decision fighters. I might ride Gutierrez a little bit because he has 7 KOs and 7 decisions. So I feel like he's really going to come out here. He's coming off a draw. He needs that win.
Yeah,
A draw is just as bad as a loss. It's just not an
it
L.
is.
So
Yeah.
I
To
might.
have 2 of them,
Yeah,
that's
right.
that'll be hey. So that's the first fight that we're going against each other on. We'll see what happens. May the better
Right.
man win.
Absolutely.
The next fight, the prelim card. It's a women's strawweight bout. We got Polyana Viana. She's 11-4. She's a plus 135 underdog. She's taking on Mallory Martin, who's 7-3, and she's a minus 167 favorite. Once again, 4 straight underdog right here for me. But the reason I'm taking Polyana Viana and why I'm a huge fan of hers is because in late 2018, she lives in Brazil, and some guy tried to mug her in the middle of the night, and she absolutely beat the piss out of this guy. It made headline news all over CNN, NBC, ESPN. Mind you, she's 5'6", 115 pounds, and this guy was way bigger than her.
And
And
she dogged him, man.
yeah,
So I'll
she
agree
picked
with you
the
with that.
he picked the wrong woman to mess with and got
Absolutely.
his you can Google and YouTube that and see what happened to that guy. So I'm going with her. Another underdog.
Yep, can't bet against that.
Nope. All right. Love it. Next fight of the night. This is when the fights start getting way better, maybe more entertaining, but don't sleep on the no name fights that we just mentioned. Those are always powerhouses as well. Just like this whole card could be. This could be a card that just surprises everybody. But the next fight here, it's a welterweight bout. Bilal Muhammad. He's 17-3. He's the second largest favorite on the card. He's sitting at minus 335 betting favorite. He is taking on Diego Lima, who is plus 251 underdog. Wait, did I say Muhammad is the underdog? I meant minus 355 favorite if I did. Lima is 15-7. I'm riding Muhammad here. Huge favorite, minus 335. 3 straight wins. His last loss was to Jeff Neal, who's one of the best welterweights. And he just bounced back as best as he could. And I expect him to get his 4th straight win here.
Absolutely. Diego is more of a he's almost a 50-50 fighter, and Bilal's on this streak. You know, his last loss was Jeff Neal in 2019. I think it's a good night to be fighting on a hot streak for me.
Yeah,
for sure. I'll take Bilal with that.
All right, awesome. And then we got the main event of the prelims, the largest favorite of the night, Rodolfo Vieira. I believe I pronounced that right.
Absolutely.
He's a minus 400 favorite. He's 7-0 in his MMA career. And also in professional grappling, he has 100 wins and 9 losses. So this guy is a submission artist. So if you're into jiu-jitsu, this could be your favorite fighter ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
this will be the fight to watch.
Yeah.
Anthony Hernandez is also good at grappling. However, I didn't jot down a couple of Rodolfo's accolades just so everyone knows. He's, like Zeebs said, he's 7-0. 6 of those wins are submissions. I feel like casuals would hate this fight. I think it's going to be an elite level submission fight. But Rodolfo has placed first in IBJJF World Championship in 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014, which that's with the gi, that's with like the pajamas. And then he also placed first in the ADCC World Championship in 2015, which is no gi, like spats and Under Armour. I mean, he's won first place in all of these IBJJF, so many tournaments. It's ridiculous that he, finally switched over to MMA, and he's unbeatable so far. He trains under Julio Cesar. So,
oh, wow.
Also, I wanted to mention this. My lock of the night, if I had to pick one, on FanDuel right now, they have Rodolfo at minus 190 via submission win, and it's very rare you ever see like a method of victory, at those odds, almost minus 200. So if I had to pick a lock, it's going to be him tapping out Anthony Hernandez one way or another.
I love it. I'm going to ride that bet as well. I've never watched either guy fight, so I'm very excited for it. And just reading the stats and background on each guy and what I've read, I'm definitely taking Vieira via submission as well here. Hernandez, he's the plus 300 underdog, and he's 7-2 in his career. So, and that wraps up the prelims. And then we get into it here. UFC 258. UFC's having another pay-per-view just 3 weeks after the huge pay-per-view 257 with McGregor and Poirier being the second largest pay-per-view of all time by pay-per-view buys. So this card here has taken some decent hits. We just learned Pedro Munez and Jimmy Rivera isn't on the card anymore.
Which is a bummer, but I think that is 2 weeks now. They put it on a fight night, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's with the Rosenstruck fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get to see those two go at it. That'll be a good bout.
Yeah, that should be February 27th that they make up that fight. I was looking forward to that. That was going to be my fight of the night prediction, but it's not on there anymore. So starting off the card now, we have 2 OGs in the fight game, Bobby Greene versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller's 32-15, 47 professional fights. He's plus 215 underdog. Bobby Greene, 27-11-1. He's a minus 278 betting favorite. What have I been taking all night?
Dogs all day.
And I'm riding dogs to start the pay-per-view. Jim Miller, give me Jim Miller.
Jim, both these fighters have this. I believe this is Bobby Green's 40th fight, professional fight. So
Yeah.
that's a ridiculous amount of fight time. It shared between the two. But I'll go with Jim Miller because of those 32 wins. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 21 of them are submissions.
Wow.
So yeah, he's an ace as well.
Yeah.
I'll go with that, dude. It's like I said, it's an underdog night, man. This is a night to make money.
And these guys went from like the second or third fight on the prelims to making the opening fight on the pay-per-view. And it's very important, like I stated, very important to start off the pay-per-view with a bang. And what better way with two veterans in the game to just go at it.
Heads going at it.
Yep. They got nothing to lose. So it should be, as Jim Ross says, a slobber knocker to start the pay-per-view. Next fight, we got Maki Pitalo. He's 13-7. He's a plus 140 underdog. This is a middleweight fight. He's fighting Jillian Marquez, who's 7-2, just new into the fight game. He's a minus 177 favorite. I'm not too familiar with either of these guys, so I hope Debo can provide some light on both of these fighters for us.
I can for Maki, other than him having an absolute badass name. Like you said, he's 13-7. He is coming off of 2 straight losses. I believe his last one was to Impa Kazaganon or whatever that his last name is. Pardon me.
Yeah, I'm not too
That's one I'm not all right with. However, you said Maki is the underdog or the favorite or which one underdog?
Maki is the plus 140 underdog.
All right, that's fine with me. I'm cool with not making as much money, but my money's going to go on Julian for one reason only. I mean, he has 7 wins professionally. 6 of them are KOs, which is cool. I like action-packed. However, his nickname is the Cuban Missile Crisis. So, I mean, it's as tough as it gets. It's almost
that's a hell of a nickname.
Right, so you got to hammer the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, I would never. Who wants to fight a guy with that nickname?
No one.
Well, I was going to take the underdog, but I'm taking Marquez after hearing that nickname. So I'm going to hammer the favorite on this one. One of the only favorites of the night I'm taking.
There's only a couple.
Yeah, there is. That should be a pretty good fight. Next fight of the night, getting closer to the main event, middleweight matchup. Interesting that you haven't heard anything about this fight anywhere.
Not a word. I haven't seen a promo cut. I haven't seen an interview from MMA Junkie. Yeah. No one at all.
If you follow MMA, you have not heard anything about this. And this fight is featuring Kelvin Gastelum. He's minus 225 favorite. And if you don't know who he is, he just fought 3 fights ago for the middleweight title versus Israel Adesanya. He was supposed to fight Robert Whittaker, and that fight got canceled the day of for the title. You felt so bad for him. He ended up fighting Israel for the belt, lost that fight. Then he fought Darren Till.
Fight that was.
Yeah, that was a hell of a fight. If you've never seen it, go back and watch that.
Absolutely.
He then fought Darren Till in Madison Square Garden. I was at that. He lost the decision, which some people thought it could have went either way. And then he lost to Jake Hermanson. His last fight. So he's on a 3-fight losing streak. So this guy was the #1 contender all the way down to the 9 seed, 9 rank in the middleweight division. He's fighting 15 ranked Ian Heinisch, who's 14-3. He's a great up-and-comer, just like Calvin was up into his loss. So this should be a hell of a fight because Calvin is basically fighting for his life at this point, it seems.
This is actually my most underrated fight of the night. There's no reason this should not be the co-main event, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, these are 2 actual big names. Kelvin's the only guy to ever give Israel Adesanya a run for his money, man. Yeah. I mean, he was beat the hell up after that fight. They both were. Yep. Like you said, though, Kelvin's on a 3-fight loss streak, so he really needs this W. Although,
he does.
And then Heinisch, he's coming off I think his last win was a knockout, but he was also on a 2-fight skid or before that. So he's going to want to keep that going. Both of these guys have the knockout power to finish it, but they also check in for full fights.
Yep,
so if I was a betting man, I think this is going to be a pretty decent long fight, maybe end stoppage in the 3rd, if not decision, easily.
Yeah. I got Calvin winning decision. in
Yeah,
this bounce back win.
yep. Yeah, I hope I like Kelvin,
Me
although
too.
he always looks like he has staph infection or something, but that is what it is.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's great. Yeah, must win for him. So I want to see him win too. I hope he gets it done. Then we get into the co-main event. A lot of people are very questionable about this being the co-main event. I feel like this could be a reason the pay-per-view is not getting much hype. It's a women's flyweight bout. Macy Barber, who's 8-1. She's number 10 ranked in the women's flyweight division. She's fighting number 15 ranked Alexa Grassaro, who's 12-3. Macy Barber is just one of those girls who was 8-0, got all the hype, and then she just lost.
My girl Roxanne, the Happy Warrior,
Yeah.
the Fieri dude, derailed that train last January in
Yes.
Vegas.
Yep.
It was
She did.
awesome.
And the UFC still sees a huge hype train behind her. They got her at in the co-main event, and she's the underdog, so I'm taking her. If she was the favorite, I'd still take her. Plus 110, I'll take that all day on Macy Barber.
I think
Bounce
she
back
bounces
win.
back. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can agree. I think she bounces back. As much as I'm not a fan of her, she has too much spunk and too much potential. Like they were really her nickname's the future, and they were really pushing that. So I feel
They
like
were.
I don't want to say she is the future, but she definitely has a future, and I think
Yep.
it starts like with this bounce back here. Still should not be the co-main event. I'll say that till I die.
Yeah, this would be a great prelim main event.
Absolutely. Like let all the casuals, all the
Yeah.
free people that don't want to, pay for the pay-per-view or stream it later.
Yep.
Let them watch this. This would
Yeah,
be
even the
for them.
even
But
the second fight of the pay-per-view would have been perfect for this. But
yeah, not a co-main.
yeah, it is what it is, and hopefully they deliver. It's a huge
I'm watching no matter what.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for them. So I hope they deliver. And then we got the main event, the maybe one of two reasons to watch the pay-per-view for in some people's minds. The welterweight championship is on the line. Champion Kamaru Usman, 17-1, undefeated in the UFC. He's a minus 278 favorite. He's fighting challenger Gilbert Burns, who's a number one contender, 19-3. He's a plus 220 underdog, coming off a huge win and dominant performance over former champ Tyrone Woodley back in the summertime. Two guys that were former teammates going at it.
They trained with each other for 7 years.
Wow.
7 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
5-round title fight. Man, this could be a very boring 5-round main event or a hell of a slobber knocker, maybe end early in the second or third round with maybe a submission by someone. My key to victory by Burns, I think he has to just throw Usman off early of his game. You can't let Usman get heated up and just keep, because that guy could fight for 10 rounds, it seems.
Right. Usman's goal, for people that don't know Gilbert Burns, I know I rang off a bunch of the jiu-jitsu accolades for what's his name? Rodolfo Vieira.
Yep.
However, I mean, before Gilbert Burns started MMA, which he just started in 2015, he started, getting serious about it. Yeah,
that's crazy.
He's placed first at IBJJF Worlds twice, in Nogi Yangi, in Abu Dhabi World Pros, Brazilian Nationals, European Open, first place. I mean, the dude's an absolute monster on the ground.
Yeah.
To go with Kamaru's wrestling style, and I could see Gilbert Burns catching him, but what Kamaru wants to do is work up his sweat. The more guys sweating, the harder it is to lock in an arm or keep a choke in or any of that. So he wants to keep that first 2 rounds rolling. If he gets caught on the ground, I have no problem seeing Gilbert Burns to twist him up at all.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
I mean, Usman has great wrestling skill. Marty from Nebraska. Isn't that what that's what Colby calls him. So, yeah, I mean, this could be I have Usman winning decision.
It's either going to be boring as hell or it's going to get finished.
I'm trying so hard to get really excited about this fight. Once it happens, I will be. But leading up to it, just because I just really see a dominant performance from Usman.
Right.
He's just been dominating all of his defenses. Covington, Jorge Masvidal. He crushed that hype train real quick.
Absolutely.
And now Gilbert Burns coming up. I mean,
Dude, I'm disagreeing. I think Gilbert has it. They've trained, like I said,
wow.
for 7 years. The weird part is the champ. There's been like Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz when they fought. They used to be training partners.
Yeah.
John Jones and Rashad Evans were training partners at one point. They fought. I mean, Cowboys fighting Diego Sanchez here in a couple of months. They're former teammates. However, with this one, they have sparred each other like over 200 times. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? They know each other. They know where they got each other. I mean, I think it's going to be good. The cool thing is there's no bad blood at all. Like they both understand, like this is for the belt. After this, it is what it is.
Yep.
But yeah, it's all respect going into it. Gilbert Burns is hungry, man. And I think the only way, like a good way to counteract wrestling is when you're wrestling, you want someone on their back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, jiu-jitsu, you're comfortable on your back, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You're very comfortable on your back.
Yep. And yeah, Burns, he could be someone that could maybe tap out.
Plus he has his hands. A lot of people just know him from his highlights, like which is mostly knocking people out in the UFC with like, you know, a crazy overhand or a hook or something. But this man can twist anyone up.
That's Burns has to come out firing and control the fight to really make this a firework fight, in my opinion. Because like I expect Usman just to beat his ass, but I love all the points that you brought up. Them being teammates, he knows them as well as anybody. I mean, if someone's to pull up the upset, Gilbert Burns is a good pick to take this weekend at a plus 220 underdog.
So I'll roll with the rest of the other people that are following us on the underdog card. I'm rolling with Burns. I honestly, I'm probably going to put money on the submission too.
Wow.
Froggy. Yeah, I think he can put him out.
Hot take in the night. Gilbert Burns by submission. Odds on that are probably pretty good. I hope I mean, I'm taking Usman, but I'm rooting for Burns. I want to see the underdog. I want to see a new champ.
I want to see a good fight. I'm cool with either of them. I want to see a good fight. Yeah, especially with the rest of this card.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Did I read my stat in this one? I'm not sure. I want to let everyone
the submission.
Know. Yep. Yeah. So there's 12 fights on this card, 332 total wins between all 24 fighters, and 111 of those wins are all submission wins. So that's 33%. I mean, that's incredible. That's so rare to have that many on a card, let alone like 33% of the card's wins are submissions. So I feel this will be casuals probably won't like this card too much, might be a little boring, you know. But
yeah, we could see a lot of submissions.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of beautiful groundwork. There's gonna be a lot of flow. That'll be the nice thing. When two people are good at ground game, they flow together, which makes it even better than one just laying on the other.
Yeah. Overall, like we said, this card, a lot of people don't know many people on this card. It's not a very fan favorite stacked heavy card, but that's the type of cards that usually deliver. Absolutely. So I'm actually, the more the week is progressing and we're talking about it more and more each day, I have a lot of expectations for this card to surprise me. I can't say live up to the hype because I don't believe there's much hype around it at all.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, I'm just expecting to have a great Saturday night and be very entertained by a great night of fights. And let's hope the underdogs pull off a lot of W's.
Yeah, remember everyone, the cards that you don't hear a lot of hype are the cards to make money off of, for sure.
Exactly. Yep, especially the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
As always, thank you for coming on and discussing this with me. We'll have you back here in the first week of March for UFC 259 discussion, and also in March is UFC 260. Both cards. We have 5 title fights.
We got some heaters coming up
in March, as well as March 13th, I believe it is Hamzat versus Leon Edwards, and then 20th is Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson.
I mean, nothing but heat.
My gosh.
For the next 2 months.
In March 6th, Adesanya's going up to light heavyweight to try to win his second title versus Jan Blachowicz.
Jan Blachowicz, but almost.
Yeah, I was close. It's hard for me to pronounce.
Put some respect on his name.
He's a monster.
I think he stops Izzy. We'll talk then.
Yeah, we'll talk then. In the 27th, you got Stipe and Francis in the main event. So 4 insane main events in March. March for the UFC is huge.
Yeah,
between that and March Madness, it's a hell of a month. So
year's off to a quick start, man. It's awesome.
Yes, it is. Great fights so far, every card. So I hope this fight this whole card lives up to the rest. So far. But yeah, we'll talk to you then. Thank you as always, man, and enjoy the fights, everybody.
Hey, thank you for having me, brother.
Yes, sir.